I can't even handle it. What you're doing is you're desexualizing yourself. You 100% need your nipples.
Hello, YouTube. We are doing a segment now in which we're going to laugh at Buck Angel and his inability to comprehend people's surgical choices, apparently. Buck Angel and Blair White. Did you know that Blair White has a podcast called The Blair White Project? I just wanted to linger on that for just a brief moment before we move on. Take that as you will. I heard from a little birdie that Blair White had Buck Angel on her podcast and that he is doing a classic Buck Angel Old Man Yells at Cloud, and I wanted to investigate this a little bit. We have scrubbed through and found the timestamp in the podcast to find the comments, and then we'll look at some of his follow-up tweets and discuss the issue a little bit. So together, let's find out what the issue is. Like, what are you yelling at, old man with clouds? What is it that the issue is today? Let's go.
Oh, that's like really profound. And
It's true.
It's true.
I haven't really thought about it. But
Yeah.
what comes to mind when you say that is a lot of people that are getting double mastectomies and they're also opting to remove their nipples.
I can't even handle it.
So to me, okay, you're not trying to
I can't even handle it. I can't even handle it.
be a man then.
That's
You're trying
right.
to be
See?
something else.
Something else.
Because men have nipples.
That's
Sorry.
right. That's right.
That's different.
That's where I started asking these kids, what are you doing? They're like, oh, Buck, you're so old. This is like the new way of doing things. I said, wait a minute here. It is not the new way of doing anything. What you're doing is you're desexualizing yourself. Well, the doctors told us that we don't need our nipples. I said,
I mean, yeah, like some people do want to be desexualized. Sorry. Like some people do specifically go for this aesthetic because they want their chest to be completely like non-sexed, non-sexual, you know. Nipples to some people represent like a type of sexual sensation that they don't want anymore, you know? Like I don't understand why that's so difficult, but we'll continue to get into it after we listen to these old people scream.
100% need your nipples. Nipples are an erogenous zone. They're like a thing.
You absolutely need your nipples, says a man who, like, apparently, like, isn't breastfeeding right now. Like, why would you insist that you need nipples? And also his insistence that they are an erogenous zone. Like, first of all, not everybody wants their chest to be touched that way. Second of all, significant portion of people who get top surgery don't retain erogenous sensation in their nipples, because one of the major things that you usually have to do is you have to relocate them, you know, because like if you think about like breasts tend to be a little bit lower on the chest. So if you were to just put them where they are originally, they would be too low and they wouldn't look natural in proportion to your pectoral muscles and everything. So a lot of people have to have the nerve stalk severed and relocate the nipple as a skin graft that often doesn't retain or regrow erogenous sensation. Sometimes the skin around it can, but for the most part, like once you've severed that nerve connection, it's not really going to be able to grow back in the overwhelming majority of cases. So there are different options, to be clear. Like not every single top surgery result requires that you do the nipple grafts, but like a lot of people get this procedure done. And I'm surprised that Buck Angel would not be aware of this fact. Like it seems really very strange to me.
I feel my nipples. What are you talking about? And so that in itself, the fact that doctors are even telling these young people, oh, you don't need your nipples. It's totally okay. I'm like,
I mean, yeah, you don't need them. They're like, people have them removed for cancer reasons and they're still able to like function and come, you know, it's fine. It's okay.
What are we're going to have a group of kids that are going to grow up with no chest and no nipples.
And can we speak really real about something really quick? I don't know if this is your experience, but
are we going to go to something else now?
a lot of these trans doctors are fucking weird.
Oh God, they're insane.
Okay, yeah. We're going off now. I wanted to focus it up on the no nipples thing, okay? I very specifically wanted to focus up on that. So we're going to look at some follow-up tweets now, continuing to look at this situation. So here we have some response tweets. Someone posted this screenshot that just says, LOL, like laughing out loud that Buck Angel is so heated over top surgery without nipples on Blair White's podcast, where they embarrassingly project their own insecurities onto other trans folks. Grimacing face, hashtag No-Nip Club. And Buck took a screenshot of that and posted, yes, I am, quote, heated over young people getting double mastectomies without nipples. This a-hole laughing like it's a joke. This is not trans. This is a club. This person even put No Nip Club as a hashtag. Disgusting. Disgusting! Let me double check, like, because there are even more tweets after that one. He didn't thread them because he's too old and doesn't thread things. So I just want to continue to getting the fleshing it out before we move on to all of my commentary about it. So he says, I had my, quote, top surgery over 20 years ago. No doctor ever said, quote, nipples are not needed and they are hard to put back on. This is the excuse the doctors are telling trans people for not, quote, needing nipples. If this is true, why did they never say this before now? So again, just one last. Okay, so he posts an article that says it's a, like, nipples light up the brain the way that genitals do. Like, yeah, no shit, they are. Like, your neck is also an erogenous zone. Like, if you have your neck kissed, that also probably activates the brain in a similar way to the like, for me personally, I know that when my neck is kissed, that usually is pretty much an immediate 0 to 10 as far as like blood flow to my crotch is concerned. You know, I do want to take a minute to sort of address all of the different aspects of this that I can think are worthy of addressing. So first of all, not wanting to have nipples put on is a completely valid choice. Like, assuming that you want to just have a chest with no nipples on it, okay? Some people do opt for this, and there are a number of reasons for that. It could be because they don't want them for aesthetic reasons, because they don't want them because they have some kind of trauma about sexual assault or something. Any number of reasons. All of those reasons are totally valid. Another reason why you might not get nipples, now we'll save that one till the end. You might want them to be like a different shape, or you might be concerned, like maybe you were not able to quit smoking cigarettes. Like, you know that you're going to have a really hard time quitting smoking cigarettes, and that smoking cigarettes increases the likelihood that your nipples will fall off while they're trying to heal. And maybe you just don't want to have the risk of scarring associated with that, so you just opt to not get nipples. Whatever, fine, okay? Some people want tattoos. They want a certain shape of nipple. They want them to look a very specific way. They don't want to risk the surgeon doing it wrong or it healing wrong. So they just go for no nipples and they get them tattooed on later. Not a big deal. Because again, the overwhelming majority of the time when a person is getting top surgery, they're getting what's called a double mastectomy. So there are, just really briefly, broadly, two types of top surgery. If you have a very, very small chest, they can cut right around your areola and then scoop out the like material there, and then like you have very small breasts. You might have like skin that is like the right amount of looseness, right? So you're not going to end up with like saggy, weird, empty skin. If your boobs are too big, you would end up with that kind of result unless you removed a bunch of extra skin. So most people need extra skin removed, and what you have to do then is remove the nipple, have it reshaped into a more masculine shape. That's usually another thing that happens, is they make it smaller. And then like they remove a bunch of skin, and that's why you have the two signature scars underneath the pectoral muscles, because like they just like took the boobie out and then put all this skin down like that and then sewed it down, right? They removed a bunch of extra skin. So then you take the nipples and then you just like stick them on to it's a skin graft. It's a surface to surface skin graft, and those tend to have a higher likelihood of rejecting than, for example, if the nipple stalk was not severed, as is the case in these like really, really small surgeries maneuvers. So most people don't have sensation after this. So for them, it's like whether I have skin graft skin graft nipples that are my nipples that I was born with, or if I have a tattoo, like it makes the same amount of difference because I'm not going to be able to feel them. Or like, I don't want to be worried about whether or not I'm going to be able to feel them is another thing that people might be concerned about, okay? There are a number of personal autonomy reasons for not wanting to have nipple grafts. But the penultimate reason why someone might not get nipple grafts is because that is a different charge on the medical bill. You have your anesthesia and like the surgeon's fee and the fee for the surgery room and the fee for the room where you're going to be staying the night in, and a fee for the Tylenol that they're going to give you, and a fee for the, like, you know, like there's all these different fees, and the fucking nipples are a separate charge. They might cost you extra. And here's the thing too, that part's usually not covered by insurance. Your insurance might grant, like, okay, I guess you need to have your tits cut off because you're a or whatever, like, fine. But having nipples put on, that's cosmetic, baby. We're not going to cover that. $2,000, please. Like, if your insurance is covering the majority of the procedure, but they won't cover the nipples, like, and you can't afford $2,000 or $3,000 out of pocket for the nipple grafts on their own, I would bet that that's overwhelmingly the reason why people are not getting their nipples in their top surgery. They're like, I literally cannot afford it. I need top surgery, but I literally cannot afford the extra couple $1,000s in order to get it. And the idea that it, like, people just don't think about that aspect of it. Like that Buck, you know, Buck, his shit was over 20 years ago. I don't know if it was covered by insurance, like, or if he just paid for it all out of pocket, you know, like not everybody can afford that. And the economy is significantly worse now. And insurance is always trying to screw you over. They want you to pay them a bunch of money and then they want to pay out as little as possible. That's the fucking profit model. That's how it works. Yeah, and thank you, NBJ. Even breast cancer survivors will opt out of getting nipples put back on after that procedure of like having to remove it and like having to remove a bunch of tissue and then augment it back into shape, you know, like they will opt to not get their nipples put back on. I had never thought about that. I didn't realize that was a factor because I didn't know that you could get your nipples put back on after a cancer mastectomy. But like, yeah, there are so many reasons, so many completely valid reasons. And number one on the list is insurance doesn't cover it. Like, why don't you, Buck Angel, get annoyed at insurance companies for not covering it? And then like, therefore, like trans people have to find a way to feel okay about it. They have to find a way to be like, oh, well, it's okay. Like, I'm not a man if I don't get nipples installed or whatever. It's just, it's a really short-sighted and self-centered kind of opinion to be like, I got my nipples installed and like these kids today, you know, like there are folks who do have to struggle with being like, well, I wish I could afford nipples to be put on because I am a man and I feel like I won't look like a man without them, but because they're $3,000, I guess I'll just get tattoos later. And in the meantime, I'm going to heal and try to like still feel one with my body because I got top surgery and that's still a good thing, you know? It's not like that's not a thing that people have to reconcile with, and that it's a good thing that they can then come out and say like, yeah, no nip club. Like, I don't feel like a freak for having not gotten this $3,000 extra procedure on top of everything else. So yeah, stop yelling at clouds, old man. Thank you so much to my patrons for making it possible for this to be my actual job in the world. Especially want to shout out Tiago Nascimento, Mersh Rolvog, Jovian F. Gaudreau, Bean, Heather Clarkson, Amanda B., Sarah A., R. Halverson, Wellington Marcus, Athiette, Michelle Winter, Suzanne Maynard, Frozen Summers, Nova, Mr. Atheist, and Elizabeth Bartell.